They have released the dog. I'm Lil Rick the gamer, do 100% gamer, bro. No one else working hard, I would do it for the gamer. Can't contain my flow. I need to play a game for sure. Maybe RTS, RPG, or maybe even MMO. Howdy, and welcome back to another video for Lord of Heroes. Now I need you to hit those like and subscribe buttons as I post content daily. Link to our Discord where we talk about this game and other games we play will be in the description box below, as well as the pinned comment below. So I will see you there. Okay, so in today's video we're about to break down the hero classes. And if you don't know what those classes are, we're going to start off with, we have the Guardian, the Warrior, the Striker, and the Cleric. Now we're going to break them all down one by one. We're going to start with the Guardian. Getting into that, and we're going to use Fram as a good example here. We're going to go to our Fram and check her out. Now, if you go ahead and click on the little icon that shows your combat power and open it up, right underneath the power it lets you know exactly what type you are. And here it says Guardian. I know a lot of people got confused because they'll look here and it says Scout Defender here, and for someone else, let's find us another Guardian here. I mean, you're a Guardian, am I right? Like it says come on, words. Virtuous. There we go. Got it. Virtuous Knight. But which is completely something. Oh no, he's a warrior. Sorry. Wrong thing. Wrong one. Okay. This is a good one. Okay. Fierce Warrior. Fierce Warrior, her says, but she's a Guardian. I'm not exactly sure what this indication is, but the shield icon itself is enough to tell you in its own. Like if we go here, we can tell the differences and some of the heroes we have. But back to Fram, for instance, here. So, Guardians are typically your tanks in this game. And their job is, you know, to absorb damage and provide you with other means of protection, if not being a saboteur. And if you don't know what a saboteur is, that's a debuffer. They sabotage the enemy. Yeah. Alright. Simple as that. And in this game, that's kind of where the takes kind of lean towards, because it's kind of like weird, because when you start off, characters like Fram and Zyra, you see them in the DPS aspect because they do considerable damage, but they do have pretty high base stats in regards. Now for Fram, she's an HP tank. She has really high base HP as you level her up. But on the opposite side of a spectrum, like Zyra, if we go here, she has pretty high defense, so she's more of a defense tank. Which either way, you're still going to put as much HP and defense on them as you can. And also, both of them being what I would call a saboteur, you need them to be fast as well as having high debuff rate. So yeah, we're about to break down exactly how you about to build these things too, people, if you're not following along. So we want to go back to my gear specifically. Some of this gear is my Zyra's. I kind of swap between Zyra and Fram based off of what I need. If one of them is weak to a certain element, because element advantage is really important in this game. If you had a disadvantage, especially for your DPS, your tanks, you might not have to swap like that, but I still do anyway, just to have the best RNG possible. Well, mitigating the amount of RNG I need possible, to be exact. But your DPS is really the ones that's going to feel it big time, but that's for another video. So here we go to the weapon, which is meant for Zyra, but like I said, I swap back and forth, which give us defense percent here. I still don't have all of the number. I still don't have the numbers that is needed for defense percent for you to swap from flat to percent. It's just we have percent. It's a 6-star. It's an artifact. It gives us really good substats. We have high speed on here. Something that we need is really important, and it gives us extra health and defense as well. And I guess the crit rate is not bad too, since we can just crit a little more and dish out a little bit of extra damage when we crit. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing as well. Now for our chest piece, we have defense percent as well. It's also a 6-star that gives us decent speed debuff rate, which is important because we need to be able to land our defense break and defense break stuns for Zyra, and for both of them attack breaks. They both have an attack break as well. So those are important, making sure we can have high enough debuff rate that we don't get resisted. And even at 80%, I still get resisted. Don't know why. Alright, another defense percent. Granted, I would love to have flat defense, but we're starting to progress to the point where, at least on Zyra, we're getting close to hitting that percent mark. We're still in the flat defense mark. And let me go back to her. Like her defense is not quite high enough, so you need really considerably high defense for it to matter. So we're not quite hitting that mark, but we still have these being our best units. Now, Fram happens to be in the range for percent HP, and I have it took down in my notes. I was going to put it in another video, but I might as well talk about it now. But somewhere around 5k. Once you get to about 5k HP, that's when you're going to want percent over flat stat. So she's definitely well over that mark, and also once again hitting us with the stats that we're looking for: speed, debuff rate, and just so happen to have crit rate, so that's kind of cool too. Oh yeah, and then just going back to our, like, we have a defense here, debuff rate, some HP percents here, like the stats that we're looking for on our gear, like here, speed here, debuff rate, and all of these are really important. And then on the next one, we have a speed ring here, because speed is key. Because we want our debuffer to go first, so our damage dealers can dish out the most damage as possible if we land in death breaks, because hopefully we are landing death breaks. If not, just stunning the enemy, so we can just play cleanup from there. And then we got defense here, some more health and defense. And it's a speed main stat, so we can't get it as a substat. At least I still haven't seen one as a substat on the speed main, so I'm assuming that we can't get it. Then on our last piece of gear here is our main stat for debuff rate, so we can have the maximum amount of debuff rate as we can possible. Also here with some more speed subs. The rest of these subs are kind of trash, but this is a 6-star debuff rate, so it's probably one of the better ones that we have. It'd have been nice if this was a debuff rate right here. Main stat. Rip that it's a resistance. And that's pretty much the breakdown here. We're just looking for main stats of HP and defense as much as we can, so we can absorb as much damage as we can. Defense is still a little more important than HP, unless there's a skill that scales off of HP, then you definitely want to have more HP, but you still don't want to neglect defense, because defense is your base mitigation. I mean, you can come in with 30k HP and about 200 defense and get one-shotted, but you can come in with 1k defense and about 300 HP and tank the damn hit. Not if you understand what I'm saying here. So defense is an important stat to have, and especially on your tank/saboteur character. So let's move on to our next one, which is our hybrid, and that's warrior. So we're going to go ahead to our alternate account to break down our warrior here in Johann. Now here with Johann, the warrior is a hybrid because it's like partial tank, partial DPS, because of how high the base stats are for, just how high some of the base stats are in general, and some of the skills and relations. Like, I don't think I talked about Fram skills exactly all the way through, but we can go and talk about Johan's skills, for instance. Like, something that you want your tanks to have in a lot of games is generally a provoke, and he happens to have a provoke on first skill. Not a super high chance until skilling up to get it, but when he does land it, it's really good. And some bosses it can be used on. Unfortunately, the final boss is immune to it, and he should be because it would be broken. Then he also has an attack break, which is a really important skill to have throughout your progression, and hella damage on is burst, which also has another attack break, but it's for 2 turns, which is even more perfect. More perfect. He has a split between being a saboteur and being a DPS. He has really good damage and as well as really good skills. He favors the counter attack, what these sets are called, because it's a warrior class set, which is counter attack. Thought it was called something else though. I must be thinking of the puncture set right now, which is a totally different thing. But he favors those, which is really good for him. Like, he thrives off of having counterattack just because he has the provoke, so he can force an enemy to attack him and then counter and just do extra damage. And if you have him built on a crit damage build like I have here, I mean, crit rate at first, because when you first start off, you might not be able to get decent enough crit rate. Like, we're at 95%, almost 100, and that's maxed out right now. If we had just one piece of gear to give us like 5 more percent, we'd be good. Like, I think I have some really good gear for him, like the stats that we're hitting. Like, this doesn't even have crit rate. If there was crit rate on here, this would be insane. But we have really good HP percent here, because we kind of want him to be a little bit tanky. Mostly in the defensive category. Then we got crit damage. Not great on the crit damage. The rose looks kind of trash for this one, but it is an attack percent. Is this attack percent? Yeah, we might go with this. We lose crit damage, but we might go with this. If it rolls crit rate, and we get some speed, because he kind of needs speed, I might go into this. But you know what? Oh yeah, this is better because it's a 6-star and this is only a 4-star. That's why. Yeah. So we have to pull us a 6-star one to be better, because the damage is just that much more important. So then here we got another attack percent, a little bit of speed, some crit rate, health. Here we got attack percent again, crit damage and crit rate, a little bit of defense and attack. Wish we could get more. If this had crit rate, this would be insane. Actually got pretty good on these counter sets. Then our next one here, now this one is the health percent, just to give him a little bit of that extra push in the HP department. I think all these rolls and this was really low, because these rolls are trash. Nothing's above 10%, but we got defense, attack. It'd be nice if we had crit rate on here as well. Debuff rate is cool. The resistance, meh, we don't really need troll resistance. And it's the only one that we had. I think no, that's not the only one I had. It'd be nice to have a little more debuff rate because he won't be reliable in that aspect. But since he's our DPS, we're more focused on getting off damage than anything. Then here we have crit damage. We got crit rate here. The other subs is like, man. Well, I mean, we got good defense percent, good HP percent, and troll resistance again. It'd be nice if this was attack percent instead, or even flat attack for that matter. He's not quite over the threshold for percent on attack yet. He still wants flat attack right now, and you're looking to about 790 attack. Is when you want to start looking for attack percent. Somewhere around that ballpark is where you want to look for attack percent. So about 790 and above. So yeah, you want to shoot to about 800. And then our last piece of gear here is crit rate, which has crit damage. It'd be nice if it has some attack percent, but we got health and some defense. We had a lot of HP and defense subs, which is good because we kind of want that, especially the defense subs, because we want to be decently tanky, especially taking on the final boss on normal. Having over 600 defense is really good, and then we're pushing over 7k HP, so we shouldn't take a hard hit from the boss, as well as him just being able to dish out a lot of damage because we have well over 1,000 attack, and then 160% crit damage, which is insane. I mean, he hits like a truck. Like, in my opinion, he's probably the best early game DPS to have for your progression. Like, I don't think there's anybody else better. At least what he comes equipped with. Like, there's good DPS, there's other heroes that do some really good things, but I hands down say he's the best for many reasons that we'll talk about in another video. But today's video is just about breaking down each of the classes. All right, so now we're going to go to a striker. So we're going to back out of here and get back on here. We're gonna go to a striker. Let me see. Yeah, I think he's a striker, right? Yeah, we're gonna look at my buddy Schneider here, for instance. Now, there's a couple different types of strikers, though, if I'm correct. What's it? No, sniper. Oh, see, I forgot about the sniper class. See, I forgot about the sniper class. So yeah, we do have two different types of two different types of main DPS type of classes, which is the striker and the sniper. I wonder how I'm going to put that in at the beginning of the video when I edit that. Okay, so your striker generally has pretty decent attack overall. This is my only 5-star so far on the main. We're working to get in another one of our striker classes in Helga to 5-star. She'll be the next one that we'll do, and you'll see that she's getting pretty high on the attack side. So once we 5-star her, she's going to easily be one attack percent. Even though mine is built on a bruiser build, which I guess I could talk about that too. But we see we're well over the percent side for Snyder on the attack. So he wants percent, and then he's kind of built something similar to the way my Johan is built on the alternate account. So we're looking for crit rates and crit damage, and that I happen to get good debuff rate on him, which I guess is kind of cool. But we're mostly want crit rate, crit damage, and attack because he's our main DPS. And then if we can get good defense and extra health, that's great. Luckily for him, he has decent base defense, so it's not hard to get defense stats. But we're here with attack percent there. We got crit rates, attack speed. We definitely don't want him to be super slow. He doesn't have to be super fast because he's our main DPS, so he'll be last in rotation. But luckily enough, he's able to go. He's fast enough to go before the boss for the final boss. And you kind of want your DPS to be like that. Then we got health percent here. I decided with that just because I wanted him to be able to have a little bit of health to be able to survive a little longer, because his health is decent. He wants percent for health as well, so this was able to scale really well with his HP. And then we got crit rate, crit damage. I wish it would have rolled some more into that though, but we only at +9, so we still got another roll that we can get. We can possibly get more crit rate, which I'm hoping for, because I've got really low crit rate. He misses crit so often, like it's ridiculous. 81% is just not enough. Like above 90% is pretty much what you're shooting for your DPS to have more consistent crit rate. It's more consistent crits. Probably nothing less than 95 from what I've been noticing. I'll see what 90 looks like if I can get somebody up there and try to test that out. But until then, this is kind of what you're looking for. All right, so defense percent here, and mostly because this is for the striker class, and then the subs was really good, and then we needed defense. Defense was important, so I kind of went with that just because we got a nice crit sub, a debuff rate, speed sub, and then the extra health is kind of okay as well. And I believe this one is attack. This one's flat attack. Now, I'm having a trouble getting boots, and I'm looking for attack percent that can possibly give us crit rate, maybe some crit damage and some attack. But these subs aren't that bad on here, so we just got the flat attack for now, which is cool. Then here we got crit damage. It's probably our best crit damage too. I think it's the only one we have that might be 6-star. Yeah. Unless it's something on my Helga, which I think she's double crit rate right now. But we have extremely good attack percent sub, a decent speed, some good health percent, and resistance subs there. I think it rolled the attack twice, and then rolled health and resistance, which it did roll resistance. Honestly, if we could have got another roll into the attack, that would have been great. And then our maxed out crit rate, main stat, because we just want to have as much crit rate to dish out as much damage as possible. Subs could have been better. Like if we could have had attack percent on here, like drop the health percent for attack percent, that'd have been great. And maybe a crit damage for the debuff rate, because we're not really looking for him to land debuffs. Honestly, we don't really need any debuff rate on him for debuffs, because we just want him to dish out as much damage as possible, because his cleave is insane and his damage output is considerably high. And that's kind of how we go towards building our striker. The same way pretty much for your snipers in that aspect. I think if I can pull up on the alt here as well, we can go to, we don't have her built right now, but we can just like look at some of her stats for our Mah-Lon. Our Mah-Lon, like she kind of up there on the attack side of things a bit. She is pretty fast too, but more likely you will want to build her. You will want to build her on the DPS side. Well, you'll want to build your snipers somewhat on the DPS side as well. She can be built kind of like a hybrid, because she does got a heal, but it's based off of her attack. But since you're gonna build her for DPS, you know, something sort of like that. If you notice the pattern so far, you want everybody tanky for survival reasons. Back to the main here and go to our clerics, which is pretty much your healers. Now here, it all depends on the healer themselves and the skills that they provide. Like personally, we go here to our Red Charlotte, and we look at Red Charlotte skills. Green Charlotte, you dumb fuck. Not red. Green Charlotte. She is the green attribute. Stop saying fucking red. Damn! She has a attack break on the first skill, which is extremely good. In my opinion, the best early game support that you can have, or cleric rather, that you can have on your team. Then she has a heal that's proportionate to her attack. So you do kind of want some attack on her, so she can have a decent enough heal. But she also gives 50% turn gauge, so she can boost herself. She can boost her team. All depends on your strategy and what you need at the moment, especially when you're counting turns going against the final boss. Sometimes I like to move her ahead of the boss so she can get 2 turns, especially if I use a damaging skill rather than her heal. Then she does have a shield as well. Her heal on her burst still is proportionate to her attack, but her shield is proportionate to her HP. So I prioritize HP for mostly survival, and the fact that her shield is harder to crack the more HP she has. So here for my build, you see we're well over 10,000 HP easily. We have not that high of attack, because we're not really relying solely on her shield, but I run a double healer comp anyway, and for the final boss you're going to be running a double healer comp for the most part, so the extra heals is going to stack depending on who you use, so you're not really worried about that department anyway. And we're meeting our 600 or so defense, 600 650 or somewhere around there defense as our base minimum or whatever for her survival. And then on our build we got a defense percent for her weapon here, defense sub, speed, but that's important. Health, resistance is actually important for her. We don't want her to be stunned or debuffed in any kind of way, because the final boss does have a death break, and just other bosses can stun and everything too, especially as you move forward into hard mode and dealing with that. We just don't want her to be into any trouble at all, and want her fast as possible, if not the first to move, at least between second and third to move on your team. Then we have flat health, which she still doesn't want percent yet. Once she does want percent, then that'll be a little bit better. So here we got defense percent, health, speed, resistance, all substats that we want on her. And then here we got attack, which we do want attack because of her heal. Resistance, crit rate we don't want, and health here on attack percent. And then she doesn't really want percent either for attack. She wants flat right now. And she doesn't have bad attack. But she definitely don't want, because she's not over that 790 mark. And mine's only a 4-star, so it's like once you get high enough, then that will all change. Then we got health percent, preferably flat. We don't really need crit rate, but attack, defense, and resistance is all good substats to have. Then we have a speed ring here with resistance, crit rate once again we don't want, and then defense and health. So we mostly hitting the subs that we're looking for on our gear, and mostly hitting everything that we need specifically for what her class and everything that she's looking for. All right, then good speed here, attack and resistance as well. We see we have decent resistance here. It's that 66%, which is not bad. Wish it can get higher for her. And then our blue Charlotte, which has higher base HP. Like I think she's slightly just better. Like she wants all of your percent. She just got better base stats, but she's not a starter unit though. So she's really strong in that regard, and she's pretty much built something similar. Like something similar in that regard is because they feel pretty much the same role. It's just double duty for the most part, and that's kind of how you want to build your clerics. And I think that's pretty much wrap up everything here. This was a really long one to go over because it was a lot to cover and everything. And I like to give you guys the best information as possible. We're going to go into depth a little bit more about the characters and all of this stuff and some more guides later. I just don't want to take up any more of your time because I appreciate the time that you have given so far. And I know I could have talked a little more about snipers, but I mean it's pretty self-explanatory as far as what your DPS do, what their roles are, what your tanks roles are, and what your supports roles are, and everything in the game. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button. Link to our Discord where we can talk about the game some more, and other games that we play will be in the description box below, as well as the pinned comment below. Make sure if you're new here to subscribe and turn those post notifications on so you can be the first to see my content when it goes live, people. And this is your host, Gamer Dude 2088, and I will see you next time. And I'm out. Deuces.